Hi, I'm Jordon Elwell of Jordon Elwell Manufacturing. I'm here today to talk to you about problems, sequences, and everything else you're going to run into down the road that they don't tell you in your school books, manuals, or anything else you can find online. And that's why I'm here, because I want to give you some guidance on all the mistakes I made to move forward and become successful in the industry. We're here to make things happen. Let's go. A lot of the time people will just replace these traversing rails, but the associated cost of buying new is so great that you're more advantageous if you can to start fixing what you have. And that's the biggest thing. If you can fix what you have, you're far better off than buying new, from a cost standpoint and from a time standpoint. A lot of times the bearing packouts or the potential of issue is high, so what we find out is testing, making sure the fit is good, and if it's not good, where it's off. So right here you can see all that wear pattern, and that wear pattern isn't good. So we're going to replace the rail. So this is where I'm lightly lubricating the bearings. I'm not overpacking it with oil, as you can tell, and then I'm slowly working the wheel around. So the bearings actually go in a circular pattern on each side and then are stuck in by this rail. So making sure that the rail is in good condition, and then making sure the bearings are in the correct position. So I'm going to call this side good to go. Then I'm going to turn it around. I will mark this side. We're going to look at the pack out here. Ooh, you can see that moves really clean. So I'm just going to add the slightest bit of lubricant value on here. I'm still going to add lubricant because it could be metal on metal friction in some places. I'm just going to work the lube in. There we go. 1 out of 3 done. Here, we're going to check bearing distance. We're good. We are supposed to have at least 1 bearing gap of distance. So, lube. A lot of the time people will just replace these traversing rails, but the associated cost of buying new is so great that you're more advantageous if you can to start fixing what you have. And that's the biggest thing. If you can fix what you have, you're far better off than buying new, from a cost standpoint and from a time standpoint. So right here, bearing movement looks good. I'm going to wipe the tip of the screwdriver that I've been working on off, and then I'm going to add a little bit more lubricant to this side here. So this filler actually has 3 traversing rails, and all 3, since I'm going to do the maintenance on the side, we're going to do all 3 rails. This one, done. Check mark it off to the side. Now we'll go to this guy. This is the one that was giving me issues the most. So there's a little bit of buildup on the surface. If you look here, there's a little bit of buildup. I'm just going to stake off right there. So this all affects how the product traverses. So if you can see, I opened up the rail and the rail's fairly loose. I'll show you in just a quick second, but we're going to insert more bearings in, but we're going to get that area cleaned first. So I'm doing a hard clean first, and then I'll do a soft clean second. The hard clean is where you're going to take some sort of instrument like this and actually get the large material and foreign material off. And then the small brush is where you'll actually do the fine-tooth cleaning and finish up. So you can see that's just too big for a fine finish cleaning. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a Q-tip. You can also use rags or anything like that to put your excess on. Everything I'm doing is just going to help affect the slide value here. So if you look, we had some slow buildup here. Right there we have, so we have a bearing with debris on it right here. So I'm just going to take it and then pluck it out of its cage. All right. I'm going to put the other bearing that popped out back by accident. So now we have our one bearing that has debris on it. Right there. So we're going to put this in a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and make her brand new again. So I'm just going to break down that crud. That iso is going to help me. And then I'll jump it right on the paper towel, and then I'll just finalize the clean. Perfect. So now, this is the bearing that we cleaned. It looks brand new again. So we're going to continue on the track, and we may find another one with right there, perhaps. Looks like we're still good. Some more scraping. Now I'm going to add lubricant to this side, and then we'll call this side done. I'm just slowly raking the bearings, and then I'll move them. Do about 3 turns on them. And what I can say is just take your time. Any sort of debris will affect the performance of the part. Any sort of thing you can clean off, and I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to take a little isopropyl alcohol to this. And the goal isn't to make it look perfectly shiny here, but we're trying to take off that main layer of surface debris so that we have 0 sliding issues. So even the amount of debris and particulate that may be, we're not going to leave that to chance. So we're going to actually scrub that off. So now I'm going to use a Q-tip, and I'm just going to go in a little circular fashion. Just slowly work it in. Bust it down. Taking the ink off. And we're going to go to a clean. I'm going to scrub at it a little bit, and then go hit it once more with ISO. These are the 3, and then I guess one little area down here. We've broken it down to the metal. Now from the surface, we've already addressed this side here like we talked about. See how smooth it's running? Now we're going to look at this side here. As you can see, we got a gap. And then as we discussed earlier, we have these pieces here. As we've cleaned them though, I can confirm they're just staining in the metal. So we're going to add a bearing to this rail. The rail's still tight, end cap's still in place. So right here, I actually have an extra part, and people will use donor kits on a regular basis. So this is actually called a donor part for us. And we're gonna take out a bearing here and then place it over here. So I'm just gonna slowly take the bearing, work it out of the rail. I had to use my finger there, sorry, and that's why it runs away. But this is the bearing that I just popped out. And I'm gonna give it a light dusting in the isopropyl alcohol, like I did to the other one. Let it dry off. And this is so that the ISO doesn't transfer, because ISO and lubricants don't jive together. I'm gonna clean my spatula off, or my tool that I was using. Whatever you want to use as a pick is fine by me. I'm not picky. Insert. Look at the tolerance now. We're perfect on our tolerance. The movement flows. We're good again. Now we're gonna just touch up the ends with ISO. And then we're gonna do a light lubricant cycle. As I said before, patience is key. If you over add too much, like I just did there maybe, then you won't need to do another dose. So slowly smooth, work it in. There we go. So now all three traversers are done. And then this is our donor block. And then these are two of our blocks we're getting rid of. And as you can see, the wear pattern on both sides of the block. This one's even. As you can see, this one is not even, the wear pattern. So most likely the bearing probably blew out on the top side and just started to wear more and more. So this machine was causing inconsistencies with grabbing and filling. Thank you for watching my video. Please check out my descriptions and links below.